and gentlemen, the captain has turned off the fasten seatbelt sign, indicating that it is safe to move about the cabin. For your own safety, though, we request that you keep your seatbelt fastened when you're in your seat during this short flight. We'll start our in-flight beverage service shortly.
5, 4,
Request that you keep your seatbelt fastened when you're in your seat during this short flight. We'll start our in-flight beverage service shortly.
5, 4, 3.
Good evening, and I did it again. My apologies, everybody, for the sound. Oh well. And I did it again.
Good evening.
I'm not sure what's. Hang on here. It's. Oh, I know what's the matter. Sorry.
Good evening.
I'm not sure what. Hang on here. It's. There. That'll fix it. I had my YouTube channel open and to monitor the show. That'll do it. Yeah.
There you go.
So, fortunately, nobody's watching yet. So,
oh, well then, I can't tell. So,
well, last week we went about 20 minutes over our scheduled time. So this week we're only going to make it a 10-minute show to make up for going overtime last time. What do you think, Lonnie?
Looking like it so far.
General law of averaging.
Yes.
So as everybody knows, or I think they know, tonight we're going to be talking about the Mavic Air 2, the good, the bad, the ugly. And I've got my little toy here, and Lonnie's got his on the way. So it's been an interesting little road. A lot of promises that DJI made, and for the most part, they've done a pretty good job so far. I have found a few little issues, and not only that, but I'm also, besides our group, I'm also a moderator for a Mavic Air 2 group based out of the States. So I kind of hear a lot of the rumblings and discontent. I got to say, a lot of it, to be real honest with you, is people that just haven't got a clue on what they're doing, or this is just their first drone and they're not too sure on it. Lonnie, you've been monitoring these groups as well, right?
I've seen a couple of posts out there, yeah, for a few of the issues.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think, like you said, I think you nailed it. It's new people that are kind of coming in expecting just to open it up out of the box, turn it on, and away you go. That's a little more complicated than that.
Well, rumor has it anyway.
Yeah, that is a rumor for sure.
Well, being it's a new drone, let's just start off with one of the first issues. It's called the battery issue, and it's pretty well known now. I put this issue out in the group down in the States. I put that out a couple of weeks ago because the US had theirs released before us. Their release date was the 11th, and ours was the 15th. Part of the reason why we didn't do the show last week, because I figured why do it before our Canadian release date? So we've held off till now. But if you do get one, especially if you've got the original run of batteries, you've got to ensure that you charge your batteries the first time only with the single charger. If you've got the Flymore kit, do not use the gang charger or hub charger, whatever you want to call it. Part of the problem is that sometimes that will brick the batteries. So first time you charge them batteries, if you use the single charger and then power up your drone and go through everything, that battery's fine. Repeat the process with each battery. After they've all been activated, you're fine to use the gang charger, but they just need to get activated because when the batteries are shipped, they're in a hibernation mode. So there's a little bit of issue. Now, I think some of the newer ones, maybe even by now, or in the very near future, that little issue will be looked at by the time they even get to you. So we'll wait and see. Is that about what you're hearing on the batteries, Lonnie?
I'm sorry?
Is that what you're hearing on the batteries as well?
That's exactly what I'm hearing on the batteries. And, it's definitely a pretty easy fix as long as people got the information to take care of it. Moving on.
So, okay. So let's talk about, I'm going to bounce back and forth between the pros and the cons here. Let's talk about the good stuff. It's a DJI. I know that sounds real simple, but in the consumer drones, there's nothing that really comes close to flying as good as the DJI. The Autel Evos are a good challenge, but anybody that's flown both of them, they'll tell you that the DJIs just fly much nicer, much smoother. The control is a lot better, and just it's a nicer drone to fly. But how's that for just one good thing?
Summed it all up.
It's funny because my next point is it's both a pro and a con, and the big issue or good thing is this does have ADS-B, and if don't know how well you can see that, but it's written right on it. Unfortunately, the guys in the U.S. figure that it's only the U.S. drones that have it, but no, it's any of the drones that are sold in North America have the ADS-B. If you're not
for newbies, what does ADS-B mean?
Yep.
And what is it? Just
the ADS-B basically will give you a warning, and what it is it communicates aircraft's location and altitude as well as various other things. It all depends on how much your receiver is equipped to receive. For the DJI, it's basically, it will give you a graphical representation of its location. It doesn't give you altitude or speed or anything like that, which would be a nice thing. Whether it be in the future, don't know. Whether that would take too much processing power, again, don't know. But now to the con side of the ADS-B, currently I find it's not really consistent. You can get really good readings sometimes and really questionable readings other times. What I did as a test is I used FlightAware 24. And if you're not familiar with that, that's a program where you can kind of see all the aircraft in the sky. And I was using that to try and test to see how well the DJI system was working compared to what FlightAware 24 was showing me. And I found that it could be an issue with the smaller aircrafts where they don't have, shall we say, as high a quality of ADS-B transceiver as what the commercial guys do, because the commercial guys weren't really an issue. It was more the smaller aircraft, which are usually the ones that we need to be aware of. So have you ever seen the ADS-B working, Lonnie?
I have not yet, no.
Okay. Yeah.
Soon, I hope.
My first encounter with it in a drone was with the DJI Enterprise drones, and that works just great. It was just flawless, and I'm hoping that that this is something that will improve in time. But so now that one was a good and a bad. So which do I go to, the good or the bad?
Well, we did a bad, and then a good, and then a good and a bad. So let's go with another good.
Oh, now we do the ugly?
yeah, if we got an ugly, let's throw it on.
Hey, here's ugly. Let's do one of the good things. Plane flight time of 34 minutes. Real world, I've been managing to average between 27 and 29 minutes, which is, it's not bad. Not bad.
Still better than the Air.
Yeah. Oh, the old Air. Yeah. It's funny. I was watching a flight test that somebody was doing tonight, where they were comparing the old Air, the new Air, the Mavic Mini, and the Mavic 2 Pro. They were comparing it for flight times, and with the old Air, they managed to get 15 minutes. That was it. But he was also doing the test. It was in wind to see how well they could handle the wind, as well as return to home. And he 15 minutes was lucky with that Air. And the King was actually the Air 2. It actually beat out the Mavic 2 Pro, and it handled the wind better than a Mavic 2 Pro. So surprising.
That's good.
Now speaking of wind, now we're going to the bad side. One of the wind issues that it does have is if you've got strong winds, the gimbal will tend to move around a little bit, right? And sometimes it can be a little bit noticeable. In moderate winds, no, it's fine. But if you get into fairly heavy winds, the wind tends to, I suspect, come in through the top here and come around the gimbal and move it around a little bit. It is slightly noticeable in the video sometimes, but overall it's not bad. So,
okay, good to know.
Thought you wanted to say something.
No, I'm good.
While we're on the gimbal cover on this, I've got to say, is the best one DJI has ever built. It's a lot easier to take off and put on. Yeah, something like that. But yeah, it's actually a very, very nice unit. Sometimes, like even with my Mavic 2 Pro, you have to fight a little bit. The Mavic Mini, to me, that thing's a bear getting it, because you got to get it just right, and then no problem. But but
I want to break them because they're pretty important for packing those up.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. You don't want to be without that.
No.
We've only got 2 watching, but hey, if you guys got questions, don't be afraid to just jump right in here.
Fire them on the side there.
What's that?
Fire them on the side there.
Yep.
Good questions.
That's good, because see, like I point this way and it's actually this way.
I got it right.
Backwards. Oh.
Yep.
Oh well. Now, next one, props. Got to be careful with the props. It's been in the news lately, but DJI has lost their defense on the patent infringement with Autel. Autel won that, and I kind of suspect that DJI must have known that they were going to lose it, because of the fact that they came out with this new prop design, which are not quite as foolproof as the old one. It will allow you to put the props on the wrong corners. So make sure you keep an eye on those when you're installing them. Make sure that you're color matched. Don't know how well you're going to be able to see it, but you got, okay. So no white ring. You got a white ring. So, and you can kind of see the little white line there. Make sure that you're always matching those up, because you can put the props in the wrong corner. And if you do that, you're going to get what we call a pancake, and it just kind of, it's going to flip over. Not a good thing.
Nope.
Now, we were talking about prop locks. It's almost like I had this segue planned. Yes. One of the newest features that I've seen on this, which nobody talks about because not a lot of people know about, but the battery lock on this thing is just freaking awesome, because of the fact that if you look at the Mavic 2 series batteries, for example, or even the Mavic Pros, the old ones, but you see the lock here, it's made out of metal.
Yeah.
The old ones were plastic. And A lot of, and the reason for that is because now, if you can see, this is where that locks in, is right there. And inside there, I'm going to try and get in closer, but inside there, there's actually 2 electrical contacts. And when you put your battery in, those electrical contacts have to be matched. If not, if they're not matched, you will actually get a warning on your screen that battery is not properly installed. I think that's a really neat little thing that they did there. So
any safety feature is a good thing.
Oh, absolutely. Especially if it's going to prevent you from losing a drone. Because
yes,
I've seen that when I've done reviewed people's flight logs for them when they've had issues. Is like sometimes, especially if they've got swollen batteries, and if the battery's not all the way in, right? It's in far enough to make contact, but if the battery's swollen, they can actually lose contact, partway through the flight as the battery warms up and expands. So, and all of a sudden at 100 feet, it just quits. And usually that's why. So, geez, this isn't a good segue. Darn, I should have planned this better. Okay, next one. Quick shots. Now, this one I don't really like, but realistically, it's not that big of a deal because most people that are going to be using this don't need the full 4K, but quick shots can only be done in 1080p. You cannot do them in 4K. Possibly in future, but right now it will automatically go to 1080p while you're in quick shots. So that also brings me up to the 8K, what do they call it? 8K hyperlapse or whatever. Is that the because that's so large, you've got 6 seconds between the shots that it does, and if there's quite a bit of drone movement or whatever, you end up with a pretty jerky looking video. And that's mainly because the processing power for the 8K it really puts this thing to task. So whether they should have even included an 8K in that, I think it was just kind of a catch up to Autel with the 8K to show that, hey, we can do it in a smaller drone, but just my thoughts. Active Track 3.0. That is very, very great. The only way it could be better is if we had the full sensor package all the way around. You can do a great job of it, and I dare say that it comes close to rivaling the Skydio 2 in how well it tracks. The only problem is that if you're doing it, make sure you have it in follow, don't have it in parallel, because if you're in parallel, the drone's going to be out beside you like this. And with no side obstacle avoidance, guess what, right? And what they've done in the programming is they get it to kind of come back behind you a little bit at about a 45 degree behind you so that it can kind of peek forward, but is far, far from foolproof. So I don't recommend using the parallel active track at all.
Unless you're keeping an eye on it.
Yeah, but then it doesn't look natural.
No.
We're always like this, looking over your shoulder. It's like, is my drone still there? Is my drone still there? Yeah.
Somebody's watching me.
Yeah. Now, they've got a claimed bit rate of 120 megabits, and through my testing, I found out that's not quite accurate. It will do a burst rate of 120, but it's not a solid, steady 120, which is it's unfortunate, but for the most part, it really doesn't overly need it. Where it takes most advantage of that is when it's doing the 8K hyperlapse. It does do a constant and steady 103 to 105, which is same bit rate as the Mavic 2 Pro. So nothing bad at all on there. It would be nice to have the full 120. If you don't know the difference, you see that in the video quality, that extra little bit of bit rate. Something I forgot. Overall, I have to say that it's a very, very good drone. It flies extremely well. I dare say it actually flies better than the Mavic 2 Pro, which the Mavic 2 Pro is no slouch by any stretch. It's very, goes where you want it. It's very, very smooth in the operation as long as you're smooth on the controls. Some drones, they're a little bit jerky, but this one is not bad at all. It's nice and smooth. And most of the issues that I've come across are things that I feel are easily fixable in either firmware or a software update. So realistically, so far, love it, you know. And you'll love it too, Lonnie.
Well, we'll see.
We need to let's get big.
a rating out of 10. What do you give the Air 2?
Yeah. So, rating? What rating would I give it?
Yep.
I would say it's about a 9. If they fixed everything, it'd be an easy 10. It's like I say, overall, I'm really, really impressed.
So for the price point, well worth it?
For the price, yep. Especially with the Mavic 3 coming.
What?
Rumor has it. Rumor has it that Mavic 3 is coming, and might be sooner than you think it is. But wait a minute. Oh, that's what I was going to do. Yeah. And
I've seen a couple of posts out there with some possible specs.
Yeah. Well, there is a post out today by Haya that he had a little help on. That kind of it's a mix between what's fact and what's a wish. And I can honestly say that it's going to be quite an impressive drone. Is it going to be more expensive than the Mavic 2 Pro? Oh, definitely. But you'll see why. So, do we want to talk about the actual specs on this, Lonnie?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Is that big enough? No, it's not. Let's go big or go home here. There
you go. That's pretty good.
There. I'm not sure how much people would be interested in this, but anyway, weight 570 grams, so you're a little over twice the weight of the Mini. And in size-wise, you're about 3/4 of the size of Mavic 2 Pro and about 40% bigger than the Mavic Mini. Did I post it in the group? No, I probably didn't. I posted a picture of all my Mavics, and it's an interesting size comparison. That's one thing I was going to mention too, is where is this here now? Here. This is one of the other things that I found was really impressive. Normally, the DJI drones have had a operating range of 0 Celsius to 40 Celsius. Yeah. This one is now minus 10 Celsius, which is a good thing for us.
Yeah, for us Canadians.
Yeah, Canuck built for Canucks. So
that's right.
Yeah, and so I really, really like that. One of the kind of downsides is, but I checked into it on why, but they because the Mavic 2 Pro had the dual IMU and dual compass. This one only has single on both, but they felt that the units were reliable enough. They didn't need the redundancy. So that's that was their reasoning behind that. The camera, half-inch sensor on that, which is larger than the sensor on all the consumer drones, with the exception of the Mavic 2 Pro, which has the 1-inch sensor. Everybody else has got a 1 2/3 sensor. So yeah, it's just a little bit bigger. And again, they're playing a little bit of game with the marketing on the pixel. What do you want? I don't want to call it pixel rate, but rating. Sorry, but there's 12 megapixel or 48 megapixel, and that's because it used the quad Bayer filter on that. And if you're not familiar with it, but it's kind of pixel splitting, or they will group pixels together for 12 megapixel, and the 48 megapixel is good. But if you really put the photos through the test, they're not a real good 48 megapixel. Average person is not going to see that, but if you're a photographer, you kind of notice that. So, and because you've got 48 megapixel on a half-inch sensor, it does suffer in the low light performance compared to if you had that many megapixel on say even a 1-inch sensor, because those pixels are so small, and the bigger they are, the better they can handle the low light. So just one other thing just to pick on, it's not really a true 4K, it's UHD, which is more than most people need anyways, but just wanted to mention that one. So far, the vision sensing seems to be pretty good. It will take people a while to get used to it because of how that shows up on the screen. If you're used to the old style warnings for the vision sensors, it's a little bit different. Read up on that. It's more to it than I could discuss on here, because then we'd have to pretty much go through the whole interface. But maybe that could be another show. The OcuSync 2 on this is, it's not compatible with the with some devices that people wish it was, but it's actually a newer style of OcuSync 2 that they're going to be making minor changes to, and in the near future it will be smart controller compatible, and I believe it's going to be the old smart controller, not the new one. Don't know if you've seen the new one or not, but anyway, that's do we want that one or do we want that one? You want to be wide? Let's get wide. Oh, you got to be old enough to know that joke.
Yeah.
Hey man, let's get wide. So anyway, yeah, but overall, great drone. Highly recommend it. A little bit of spit and polish from DJI in way of firmware updates and stuff. It gets a full solid 10 from me, because like I say, very impressed.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm excited to get mine too.
There you go. So anything
got-
else you want to talk about?
I got my little Tello here, there,
Yeah.
and then I got my Air over there, or
Yeah.
Mini, sorry. And them out on the weekend.
Cool.
Lots of fun. So it's all
Yeah,
good.
you were out camping and enjoying it.
Yes, and the weather was awesome too. So
Good. Good.
It was a great time.
We got anybody in the watching that's got any questions?
Dave's just taking it all in.
Just taking it all in.
Yep. R&R. Perfect. You can walk away with some knowledge out of these shows. That's what it's all about. Even if you walk away with one new piece of knowledge that you didn't know, it's perfect.
Well, that's we could do the usual type of shows, but I'd like to try and, in some ways, keep it educational and have people learn something. And if they want to change it up, hey, the show's for the people. So whatever they want.
Yeah, exactly. Just if they want something different or want a certain topic talked about, just let us know. Post it in the Facebook page or on here. Well, during the show, whatever. Right?
Yeah, because we're always looking for new ideas and new topics. So if anybody's got anything, please don't hesitate to mention it. So
yeah, no, for sure.
And
like you said, we're here for the people.
Yeah. On that note, we'll be saying good night, folks. Have a good night, and we'll see you next time.